Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast, where we explore the mindset, skill set, and habit set of leadership communication. Using these tips, techniques, and tactics, you'll be able to talk like a leader to build better relationships and get more done. Your host is Guy Harris, who has more than 20 years of combined professional and military experience in consulting, coaching, and training in areas like team and interaction dynamics, communication strategies and tactics, as well as emotional intelligence. Take it away, Guy.
Hi, this is Guy Harris. Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast. This week's episode is titled Creating Hope. Now, I'm taking the inspiration for this episode from where we are on the calendar. This episode is released after the first Sunday of Advent for the Christian calendar, for the Christian holiday of Christmas. And the theme for the week is hope. So I thought I'd use that as some inspiration and talk about the power of hope and the importance as a leader of creating hope. So just a couple of quotes to kind of stir your thoughts. Napoleon is quoted as saying, "A leader is a dealer in hope." And since I'm drawing from the Advent season, I'll look in the Bible at Proverbs chapter 13, verse 2. Hope deferred makes the heart grow sick, which points to the idea that despair is the absence of hope or hopelessness. What's that got to do with creating hope? Well, if you think about a time in your life where you felt hopeless or felt despair, I'm guessing that you, like most people, like me, like friends of mine, like coworkers of mine, like family members of mine who I've seen in a state of despair or have experienced when I've been in a state of despair, no matter how short it might be, despair creates lack of motivation. Now, the opposite of that is hope, and that's what I'm talking about today, creating hope. Because when we have hope, we don't have despair. And hope creates energy. Hope in the future creates power in the present. So think about that this week and take some time to reflect a bit on how the way you speak either creates or destroys hope, not just for you, but also for your team and for the people around you. Truth is, I've heard this phrase that hope is not a strategy, and frankly, I agree. Hope in and of itself is not a strategy for success. So I'm not suggesting that hope is all you need. I'm just suggesting that without hope, your strategy doesn't matter. Because if we don't have hope that the strategy will succeed, if we don't have hope that we will have success, if we don't have hope that things somehow will get better than where they are, there's really no point in doing anything. So the power of a leader to create hope in their team is the power of a leader to create energy and motivation and enthusiasm. Another thing I'm not talking about being Pollyanna. And so Pollyanna was a character that comes originally from a novel in 1913. It's children's literature, was originally written by an American author, Eleanor Porter, and it became a series of children's books. Not all of them were written by Porter. It went on for a number of years. I don't know the exact number of books. I know that there were several of them. The character Pollyanna played what she called the glad game, where she looked for something optimistic in every situation. And while in that particular book and series of books, the idea of being optimistic was about looking for a way to confront difficult situations and overcome them, the word Pollyanna has become synonymous with overly enthusiastic or excessively cheerful, meaning cheerful and optimistic to the point that you're not able to see the difficulty or the challenge in a situation. And frankly, that's not what I'm talking about. The type of hope I'm talking about is probably better described in the Stockdale paradox. I think I may have actually referenced this in prior podcast episodes. The Stockdale paradox comes from James Stockdale, who's the ranking POW in the Hanoi Hilton. And through that brutal prisoner of war experience, he learned some things about how to confront brutal reality and how to survive. And Stockdale said that it wasn't necessarily the optimist who survived or the pessimist who survived. Both of those actually turned into loss of hope. The optimism without reality turned into loss of hope. And pessimism was without hope anyway, so that was loss of hope. The people who survived the prisoner of war experience in Vietnam were the people who could confront the brutal reality of the current situation and at the same time retain hope that things would get better. And so that's the kind of hope I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Pollyanna hope. I'm not talking about unrealistic hope. I'm talking about the realistic hope that if we persevere, we will overcome. I'm talking about even though we're confronting a difficult situation, I believe that if we persevere, it will get better. So it's confronting the situation we face, the problem, the project, the barrier, the challenge, the constraint, whatever it happens to be, acknowledging that, and at the same time, remaining hopeful that if we do the right things, if we take the right steps, if we research properly, if we persevere, we will be able to overcome the difficulty. And I was asked this recently in a webinar I was doing. A participant asked about how do you create enthusiasm? How do you model enthusiasm? How do you encourage people to be enthusiastic? And this idea came up that as leaders, we model enthusiasm. We model hopefulness. We model honesty. We model positive outlook. We confront the brutal reality, and we expect that we're going to win. So the idea that I want to leave you with today, that the thought I want to give you for this week, is to think about how you model and communicate hope. You know, as Peter Levin said, no hope, no action. Hope really is sort of the seed of motivation. And if we want other people to do well on our team, if we want our teams to move forward, if we want to make progress, we need to find ways to create hope. So what I'll give you this week is an acronym that I heard a while back. I was reminded of it by my wife this week, that HOPE stands for helping other people excel. I'll say that again. HOPE stands for helping other people excel. So what can you do as a leader to help other people excel? What barrier can you remove for them? What encouragement can you offer them? What tool can you give them? What experience can you share with them? What hopefulness can you share with them so that you help them excel and help them feel hope so that they can take positive action? So in the first week of Advent, this first week of December in 2020, I'm going to encourage you to think about how you can create hope as a leader, how you can speak hope into other people. If you can learn how to create hope, you can talk like a leader. This has been the Talk Like a Leader podcast. You can listen to this show every week wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm Guy Harris, and thanks for listening.